They had so much money in politics and power that they was actually heard by the federal court. They was heard by the federal court to the point that you can't even sue these people for real. You can sue little doctors, but you can't sue John D. Rockefeller and them because all their money is stuck up in the trust. And you can't penetrate a foreign trust. Remember, they from Germany. His trust is out of Germany. Man, these dudes were smart. Evil, but smart. So, man, so check this out. They got all the schools shut down. So at this same point that they getting the school shut down, they say we need a new curriculum. We got all the medical schools. So now if you look, like for instance, in Atlanta right now, you have something called Spelman College. You know who Spelman is, right? That's John D. Rockefeller's wife. Her last name is Spelman. Her last name is Spelman.
That's the man's wife?
That's his wife.
Look at Spelman down south.
Man, Google it right now. Google who spelled.
Go look this up real quick.
I never knew Spelman College named after.
Check this out.
Mrs. Laura Spelman Rockefeller.
Ooh!
1894, name changes to Spelman Seminary in honor of Miss Laura Spelman Rockefeller.
Let's not talk about Morehouse. Let's not talk about, look, all these medical colleges. Look, you think it goes back to somebody that's black? They don't. All these medical colleges go back to subsidiary and basically names or middle names or third grand. These are named that all these different medical colleges is named after John D. Rockefeller family. And you can trace them back. Just like you can trace back all the presidents to come from one entity, come from one bloodline. You can do the same thing with every medical college. Now, within the last 20 years, it's a bunch of new medical colleges that came up outside of that, which still follow the curriculum, but don't have their name. But when you start studying these names, man, they go back to John D. Rockefeller family, man. They go back to his family names. He owned these schools. That's why if you go and you teach against them, you can get locked up and persecuted because he sits at the head of the federal directors in the federal Supreme Court. John D. Rockefeller, man, he controlled the damn world, man. Him and the Carnegies. Man, so look, let me show you how they did this though. So so now they start passing laws. These are people that's not into politics. These are people that don't have no doctrines in medicines, but they have enough money to influence. Because now you got enough money, you can put people in office. You can put certain governments in office. You can create the FBI. Guess who funded the creation of the FBI? Rockefeller did. He funded that. That's why it's an agency. He funded that agency. The FBI would not be the FBI without the Rockefeller Foundation family. He funded it. So what he did was he said, look, we're finna put money into the government system. We're going to put money into the school system. Let's create something called the School Education Board. I think it was in 1911. He created the Educational School Board. So everything that you learn from kindergarten all the way into college is actually the Flexner Report. Flexner, Carnegie, and the Rockefeller family came together with a bunch of scientists and a bunch of psychologists, and they said, we're going to create education. So whenever you learn anything in a public school system, you are being taught. You sitting on John D. Rockefeller lap. You acting like he your grandpa, and he giving you game on how he wants you to be ran. Now, check this out. This is his famous quote. He said, I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of what? Workers. So you go to school to become a worker. Who you working for? The pharmaceutical companies. And so look, now remember, they broke up his companies, right? When they did the antitrust law against him to make him come work for them. And it worked because he started funding them and putting them in office and stuff. Shell's company, guess who owned it? Rockefeller. You know what I'm saying? Procter and Gamble, guess who owned it? Rockefeller. You know what Procter and Gamble sells? They sell your tomatoes. They sells all your food. It sells all your food. Most of your cereal companies like Fruit Loop and them. Guess who's the back owner of them? Rockefeller. But you see, cereals is one of the number one cancer causing agents to children. You know what I'm saying? The milk and farm industry. Guess who owned the most land in America? The Rockefeller and the Carnegie Foundation. All the foods we eating owned by them. What about your toothpaste that got fluoride in it? Guess who owned most of your toothpaste? Rockefeller. What about the soaps and the shampoos you put in your body that causes you all these types of cancer? Guess who owned it? Rockefeller. Let's talk about the perms. The perms, which causes brain cancer. Guess who owned these things? These are all back. Well, let me not say owned, but when you dig and you find who funded these companies, guess who funded all these companies? The Rockefeller Carnegie Foundation. So they had so much money and they gave away charity to so many different people, but it was all for the purpose to actually create the educational school board and to penetrate the colleges. That way you went to school to teach pharmacology, and that way when a doctor see a symptom, he don't teach you how to heal. He teach you how to suppress that symptom, and he always have to give you what? A prescription to a medicine. And this medicine, they get a percentage off of everything they sell.
You know what I found wild, man, is that they don't teach doctors about nutrition.
Because it's being
I
a doctor.
understand why, but I'm just saying.
Because you
like,
realize
it's
all
wild,
doctor
like,
just means teacher. That's all it means. So you can have a doctorate in anything. You can be a philosopher and be called doctor because you're a teacher of philosophy. So they're a teacher of pharmaceutical drugs. They're here to prescribe you a drug. And every time that they prescribe you a drug, the money go back to the Carnegie and the Rockefeller and the JP Morgan Bank Foundation, because bankers is who created the pharmaceutical industry.
D. Rockefeller and the General Education Board encouraged vocational education during the years of 1880 to 1925. So that fits with you.
See? They didn't only create the educational school board, they created the medical board. They created and revamped all of your colleges. So if you go to any school in America and in Germany, you are learning the mindset of John D. Rockefeller and how to serve his family forever. John D. Rockefeller and his family, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, all of these different people, the Kissingers, these are all the bloodline. These are the same people. They just changed their names. They're actually from German, and then they converted over to Judaism. So they tell you that they're the Jews, but they really are Germans, and they are soul capturers. Until you get out the matrix, you're going to be serving them for lifetimes until you understand who these people are. And these people trace back into the Knights Templars, and they trace back into the Phoenician foundations all the way in Africa. These are ancient bloodlines of people. And to my knowledge, not to sound like spookism, they're not even humanoids. And this is the truth, man. These people were born into power, man. That's the facts. So that's the story of the pharmaceutical drug industry.